Alrighty, folks, here we go. Welcome to a new realm of my YouTube studio. My name is Kevin May with Team Pachamama. I am formerly known as Philolila or Philosophical. And it's been a while since I made an official YouTube video, and I just wanted to come on here and say hello. You may notice that I'm super sweaty right now. I just had an amazing bike ride, and when I got back, I was feeling inspired, so here I am. One of my core values is just being authentic and not trying to put on some big facade. And so I enjoy sweating. I enjoy working out very intensely. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's very detoxifying for the skin and for the whole body, and it just clears my mind. It grounds me into the physical, and it often makes me feel very inspired to share messages and to do my purpose in the world. So here I am, super sweaty. The room I'm in doesn't even have air conditioning, so I'll probably be wiping sweat from my face, but I'm totally okay with that. And yeah, I just wanted to share, today's almost the new moon, which is like the start of a new cycle. And I recently turned 29, and I felt like that was the start of a whole new cycle, being my Saturn return in astrology. And I'm planning to start making more YouTube videos again. I have like 500 videos on here from over the past 10 years, but over the last year or so, I haven't been making as many videos. I've been focusing on my online coaching programs and doing other different projects, but I haven't been on YouTube quite as much, and I'm probably going to post this on Facebook, so if you're on Facebook, hello as well. But yeah, I just wanted to share kind of some updates and just part of my journey, and I also wanted to invite you, anyone watching this, if there's some kind of topic or issue or thing that you're interested in me sharing a video on. I love to receive feedback and like inspiration on topics to cover in different videos. I've covered many different topics over the years, but there's lots of topics that interest me. So yeah, I first we'll just share about me like reclaiming my birth name of Kevin May. So flashback to 2010, I was a freshman at Penn State University, and I was living in this tiny little dorm room, and was on Facebook and YouTube a lot. I was really getting into like consciousness shifting documentaries at that point, and I was really into philosophy, reading books on philosophy, and I also have always had a love for puns. So I was like, it'd be kind of funny if I just changed my name on Facebook to first name Phil, last name Osophical. And so I did that, and it was just kind of a joke at first, and some people didn't even catch on to what the pun was, which I thought was even funnier. And then at the end of 2010, or actually at the end of my school year of 2010, I went on a bike trip across America, riding bicycles with a few other people from coast to coast, east to west coast, and that was a life-changing experience. And during that trip, I started sharing different poetry that I had written, and when I would share on stage, I would go by my name of Philosophical, and it was kind of cool to have this sort of persona that I could share on stage. And I also started making a lot more YouTube videos at that point, and it was nice to have this kind of persona that I could do like my performing and my online stuff, but then have more of like my private life just as Kevin. And it was just a little bit of a distance to have those different sort of sides of myself. So I was cool with that. And then when I got back from the bike trip in 2011, plenty of my friends back in here in Pittsburgh still call me Kevin, but when I would perform and stuff, I would go by Philosophical. And then eventually I started touring the west coast of the United States, going to festivals and stuff. And everyone just kind of knew me as Philosophical by that point. And so people basically assumed that my name was Phil. And I was like, all right, whatever, I'll just be Phil now, like, no big deal. And so people started calling me Phil. And, I still would go by Kevin in some realms, but a lot of people just referred to me as Phil all the time. And then I was like, all right, whatever. And eventually, fast forward to like 2014, 2015, I started realizing that I didn't resonate with the name Phil. It didn't feel like that was me. But one of my friends would joke and he'd be like, "Yo, Philo," like philosophical. He'd be like, "Philo, what's up?" And I liked that name, and it resonated more with me. And then I learned that the word philo in Greek, it translates to either friend or the word love. Like philosophy means love of wisdom. Sophie means wisdom, so love of wisdom. So I was like, okay, the word philo, that means like friend or love, so maybe I could interpret that as like a loving friend. So I was like, all right, I think I'm going to start going by Philo now. So I really embraced that. And that was around the same time that I was embracing my like gender fluidity. I was embracing my feminine side more, embracing myself as bisexual. And I was like, all right, Philo feels like a more like balanced name. And so I really embraced that. And then fast forward again to 2016. All right, water break here. Um, Fast forward to 2016, I really had this like activation of my feminine energy happening. My Kundalini basically got activated in 2011 or 2010. At the end of the bike trip, I was hit by a car, and that like spontaneously activated my Kundalini. I had a new near death experience. And so over the past 10 years, I've had all these different profound spiritual experiences without caused by any substances. I mean, I have had plant medicine ceremonies, but many of these experiences were just like totally spontaneous. And so in 2015 and 2016, I had a number of experiences which like activated my feminine energy very profoundly. You could say maybe it was like the feminine Kundalini energy. And at that point, I really felt this femininity that I had repressed for so long of my life. I was growing up very homophobic. All of my friends, we would always, make fun of each other if anyone was acting like feminine or girly or whatever. So I like repressed all of these aspects of myself. For example, like talking with my hands. It was like, oh, that's feminine. I have these long fingers. People would always say I have like queen hands or something. And so I just like repressed these different aspects of myself. And so when I finally gave myself permission to unleash my feminine energy, it was like this huge amount, this huge volcano of energy coming through. And when I meditated and asked for like what is my feminine name, the name that came to me was Leela Rose. And it felt very resonant in my heart. It felt like this was a real piece of me that I had like forgotten, and I did kind of like a soul retrieval of this aspect of myself, and that was profoundly healing for me. And so by the middle of 2017, I moved to Asheville, North Carolina, where I had lived previous summers. At this point, I was also living in Florida. And when I moved to Asheville, I decided I'm just gonna like fully embrace my feminine side. I'm gonna introduce myself as Leela Rose. I'm gonna dress more feminine, wearing skirts and stuff, getting my nails done and whatnot. Like, it was very liberating for me. Um, and funny, one thing is like I tried to wear makeup a few times, but like I was often sweating so much, and like I would always do this thing of like cooling myself down because my energy would run so high from my Kundalini. Like I would have to put water on my head all the time to cool myself down, and I still do this. But it was like the water would make my makeup run, so I just gave up on wearing makeup, even though it was a fun experiment. But anyways, I spent like the whole summer really just letting my femininity go, and I was basically living outside, living like a monk. Going to ecstatic dance was like my main like social ritual. Um, I was basically living in my car, living outside. Eventually, I moved into a place in Asheville, but it was a very liberating experience. Just like fully let my feminine energy flow as much as I wanted, and eventually, it started to get cold in Asheville. I was like, all right, I'm going to move back to Florida. So I moved back to Florida in October of 2017. And interestingly, when I left the energy field of Asheville, it was like my masculine energy got rebalanced in a way. I really feel like Asheville has a very feminine energy in it. Fun fact, supposedly the world's largest quartzite crystal is underneath Asheville, so it's just like blasting it with these high frequency vibes, which a lot of people seem to feel there. So, anyways, I moved back to Florida, and at that point, my masculine energy started to kind of reintegrate, and I found more of this balance within myself. Um, so I continued to, explore myself, and then in the spring of 2018, I moved back up here to Pittsburgh to finish working on my other book, which I then finished in the end of 2018, and then I decided to go back to Florida. But when shortly after moving back to Florida is when I had my big health crisis. I wasn't taking good care of my type 1 diabetes, and I went into a diabetic coma. Had a very intense near-death experience, which I have a whole video on here. It's called like Craziest Story of My Life. I had a whole near-death experience, which was just absolutely insane. But to make a long story short, I barely survived. All the doctors were shocked that I survived. This is my third near-death experience. And when I came out of it, it really felt like my soul grounded even more into my physical body. And my whole life I've had challenges with like dissociation and feeling ungrounded and stuff, but somehow this extremely painful experience like brought my soul more into my body, and I ended up coming out of it feeling like my masculine energy and my feminine energy had really like harmonized and integrated into myself. And I started taking insulin for my type 1 diabetes again, which allowed me to gain weight and have my body back in equilibrium, which felt very good. And it's been like a year and a half now. I've gained so much weight and muscle, I feel like a new human being, but I feel strong and healthy, and I'm just so grateful for my health, and with that said, I do think that Western medicine has its important place, and a lot of people that are kind of into alternative stuff sometimes like shun it and try and say it doesn't have anything good to offer us. But I would literally be dead if it wasn't for Western medicine, and every single day my life is sustained by this pharmaceutical insulin. So I just want to say I'm supremely grateful for that. With all that said, I've really been continuing to embrace my masculine energy, and it feels like throughout this whole journey, now my feminine energy feels like it's like successfully integrated within me, almost like an inner layer of my outer, more masculine shell. And so I feel like I can freely express my feminine qualities while embracing my masculine body and energy. And so, with all of that in mind, I just felt this strong sense when I turned 29 to like fully embrace my birth name of Kevin May, and to kind of like gently close the chapter of being Philo Leela. I love that name because it balances my feminine energy, masculine and feminine energy. Philo being more masculine, Leela being more feminine. And really funny realization I had. I used to watch this show called Rugrats back in the day, and there's these twins on that show, and their names are Phil and Lil. And when I realized that, I was like, wow, that is crazy. I wonder if deep down subconsciously I was like trying to be Phil and Lil. But anyways, I just wanted to kind of share that general recap of the last 10 years of my life, and I'm really just embracing the whole journey as all important pieces of the puzzle. I'm embracing where I am now, and I'm excited moving forward. So if you want to share any comments, anything you've enjoyed about how, to whatever degree you've been following my journey over the past 10 years, I love to hear feedback. It encourages me to keep making videos. If I feel like no one's watching these videos and appreciating them, then it doesn't inspire me as much to keep making videos. So please leave any feedback. If there's any, you know, topics you'd be interested in me covering in future videos, please let me know. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And yeah, please check out some of my other videos. I've literally lived like 10 lifetimes in the last 10 years, and it's pretty crazy. But there are some pretty cool videos and interviews on my channel. And I like to say that there's multiple people that contribute to this channel, and you know, I feel like I'm a spokesperson and I'm connected to so many different things. It's not just like about me, it's about like this larger movement of healing and awakening humanity. So thanks for watching. I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you soon. Peace.